There's just so much being said about the government shutdown, SNAP, and the impact it will have. I thought I should add my 2 cents worth. Bear with me because this is a complicated issue. Sadly, these shutdowns seem to happen all of the time anymore, but that's not quite accurate. There have been 11 shutdowns since 1980, and all but 4 lasted 6 days or fewer. In 2013, under President Obama, there was a 16-day shutdown. There was a 21-day shutdown during Bill Clinton's second term. In Donald Trump's first term, there was a record-long 35-day shutdown, and this current one is almost there as well. The reason I mention the shutdown in Trump's first term is the difference in how SNAP benefits were managed. In 2018, the Trump administration continued to distribute SNAP funding to the states using contingency funds, the exact same funding that as recently as last month, the USDA's lapse of funding plan stated it could be used to fund SNAP in the event of a lapse in funding. SNAP funding has never not been distributed until now. So how will this impact Iowa? More than 270,000 Iowans rely on SNAP benefits. That's about 130,000 households. 2/3 of them include children, and over half of them are working families. That is a lot of people who are going to go hungry. Benefits coming from the federal government amounts to about $45 million per month. That is a lot of money being withheld from the economy. So what's our Republican leadership doing to help? Well, Iowa is not one of the 25 states suing the federal government for withholding SNAP payments. There's no way food banks and food pantries are going to be able to make up for the loss of those benefits. They're already struggling to keep up with the increased need they've seen since the pandemic. The governor's plan is to have the Health and Human Services and Volunteer Iowa get volunteers to support food assistance operations across the state. What does that even mean? And the National Guard is available to help with food distribution missions. Finally, the state will match cash donations to Iowa's 6 regional food pantries up to $1 million starting Monday. That seems woefully inadequate when there is a $45 million loss in funding. Of course, it's hard for any state to try to continue funding the program with the head of the USDA coming out to say that the federal government will not reimburse a state for whatever they put into the SNAP program. This is a guarantee that people will suffer. Why is the Trump administration and the USDA refusing to fund SNAP during this shutdown? Chuck Grassley was pretty blunt in statements he made this week in a report with KCCI. He said there are some things Republicans in Washington, D.C. would be willing to compromise on, but Democrats have to support the government funding bill first. We're not going to reach agreement or sit down at the table to finalize those compromises until we open up the government. That's right. Republicans are telling the Democrats that they are willing to starve their constituents in order to get Democrats to stop their push for continuing the tax credits to keep health care affordable. Grassley also said we shouldn't have to reach compromise under duress. But you know what? The bill that the Republicans are pressuring Democrats to sign is only good until November 21st. So even if they did sign it, they're right back to the same spot because it would expire in less than 3 weeks. Instead of spending the last month in Washington, D.C. working together and compromising on passing funding bills and deciding how to provide affordable insurance, Republicans have been refusing to meet and blaming the shutdown on Democrats. And now a judge has agreed with the states who sued Trump, saying that he was illegally withholding SNAP benefits. We'll see how quickly he gets around to releasing the funds. I am Teresa Perrin, running for House District 51. Thanks for watching.